Hello students, welcome to new video lecture on topic quantum mechanics. Today we will start a new topic, quantum mechanics. So before going to what exactly quantum mechanics, let us try to understand a little bit background. So the classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics and quantum mechanics have fundamentally different approach to solve the problem. The classical physics mainly we deal with the study of object which are having macroscopic level, and in the quantum physics we deal with particle at or object at microscopic level. In the classical physics it is accepted that you can measure position, mass, velocity, acceleration, etc. of the particle can be measured very accurately. However, quantum physics says simultaneous measurement of quantity is always associated with uncertainty. So that's what exactly uncertainty principle says. So we will see a little bit later. So it's uncertain. So let us see the background. First let us see Planck's law. So way back, that is experimental observation of black body radiation, that is black body radiation spectrum. If you see, that is okay, black body radiation spectrum is something like this. On y-axis energy and x-axis wavelength, with the temperature, how exactly energy dissipated. If you see, first so what you can see is this is low temperature T3, this is T4, let's see, T4, T3, T2, it should come something like this. Peak should be shifted. Okay, something like this. T1. Okay, this is what exactly you can see whenever black body spectrum. What you observe is energy distribution curve, in which energy density E is that is energy emitted by the black body per second per unit area is called of the surface is called as energy density E, is plotted a function of wavelength at a different temperature. What you observe is as energy goes to a peak value, again it decreases, but that peak value shifted to lower wavelength side as temperature increases. Here T1 is greater than T2, greater than T3, greater than T4. Okay. So in 1900, Max Planck tried to explain this curve. So to explain this curve, he used theory called quantum theory to explain energy distribution in black body radiation spectrum. So he postulated something. Mainly there are two postulates. Atoms of black body behaves as an oscillator. First assumption he made, black body atoms behaves like a oscillators. These atomic oscillators can have only energy given by E is equal to n h nu. Nu is associated to frequency of oscillator, h is of course Planck's constant, that is h is equal to 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, and n is a integer, it takes value 1, 2, 3, so on. There is a first assumption in it. Second postulate, whatever he says, atomic oscillate radiate or absorb energy only in discrete manner or in quanta. So energy absorbed is discrete or quantum of energy, that's discrete. The amount of energy radiated or absorbed in each quantum is equal to h nu. So he says h nu is a quantum of energy radiated or absorbed. Thus amount of energy emitted by the black body is directly proportional to frequency. So applying quantum theory, Planck obtained expression for energy density emitted by black body in the wavelength range lambda and lambda plus d lambda. It's written as E lambda d lambda is equal to, no derivation for this, in the syllabus it is not there. Directly we are going to write that formula 1 by e to the power hc by lambda kt minus 1 d lambda, where of course normal meaning, h is Planck's constant, lambda is wavelength, then c is velocity of light, k is a Boltzmann constant, k is a Boltzmann constant, and t is a temperature. So this is known as Planck's law of radiation. So this law agrees well with experimental observation made in black body spectrum, and it is valid for all wavelengths. Of course, before Planck's law, of course, Rayleigh and Wiens came to try to explain this, but one law is able to explain the higher wavelength side and another law is able to lower wavelength. Anyway, but Planck is successfully able to explain that. Now, let us move on to the next topic, that is wave-particle dualism. So in other words, it's a dual nature of light or wave, dual nature of electromagnetic field. So the experiments, that is two experiments mainly, that is photoelectric effect and Compton effect, showed or conclusively established that particle behavior of the light. So photoelectric effect and Compton effect, two experiments or two effects showed that it is particle in nature. But of course, phenomenon like interference, diffraction, polarization gives exclusive evidence for the behavior of light as a wave. Hence, we have to conclude light behaves as waves in some phenomena. In some phenomena, it behaves like a flux of particle. So, in simple, we say light exhibits wave-particle duality. Wave-particle duality. This is what exactly observation. Now, people are worried about this. How to explain this dualism nature of light? When exactly it behaves like particle? When exactly it behaves? Because it sometimes behaves like particle, sometimes it behaves like wave. So how to explain this? So in order to explain this, people have tried. So people have discussed a lot. If you go back in the history, there was a very detailed discussion were taking place. Big scientists Einstein and other people are involved in it. So at the end they could not conclude anything, and finally they used to conclude Monday it is wave, Tuesday it is particle, Wednesday it's wave, Thursday it is particle. Like that they assigned 6 days. Finally one day left, that is Sunday. They told it is Sunday, so it's a holiday. So like that funny conclusion they came. Finally de Broglie, his elder brother was a physicist and he was involved in this discussion. Actually de Broglie is a mathematician. He is worried why people are not able to conclude. So he started studying about this physics seriously for 2 years, and he came out with a hypothesis which is able to explain wave particle dualism of the light. So that hypothesis is nothing but de Broglie's hypothesis, famously known as de Broglie's hypothesis. What exactly it says? De Broglie hypothesis, I try to explain each material particle in motion possesses a wave character. That was its explanation. So wave is associated with material particle are called as matter wave. He introduced a new term called matter waves, or it's also people call it as de Broglie wave. De Broglie, named after him. So de Broglie waves. So he told whenever particle is under the motion, it will associate it with a wave. So that wave is known as a matter wave. So he started with Planck's law, Planck's theory of radiation. According to Planck's theory of radiation, E is equal to h nu, where nu is the frequency associated with radiation. So he used Einstein mass energy relation. It says E is equal to mc square. Of course, m is a mass, E is the velocity of light. Combining 1 and 2, you can have E is equal to h nu is equal to mc square. Therefore, momentum associated with photon is given by P is equal to mc, that's h nu by c, or h by lambda, or lambda is equal to h by p, h by p. Lambda is called as de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is here, lambda is called as de Broglie wavelength. Numerical problem can be asked to calculate de Broglie wavelength. Okay. So this is the expression for de Broglie wavelength. This was a simple explanation given by de Broglie, that he says every moving particle is associated with a wave. So that wave is significant at microscopic level. At a macroscopic level it is insignificant. Let us try to find out de Broglie wavelength. Associated with the accelerated electron. De Broglie wavelength associated with accelerated electron. Let us try to find out this. So a beam of high energy electron can be obtained by accelerating them in an electric field. So what we will assume is, let us assume that electron is starting from a rest when it is accelerated with a potential difference of V. You applied a potential difference V, so therefore electron started accelerated from rest. If the velocity v, there is a capital V is a potential, I'll use small v is given to the velocity given to the electron by accelerating through potential difference. And then the work done on the electron is EV. Electron is EV. So the work done can be converted into kinetic energy of electron, that is E is equal to half mv square is a kinetic energy, that is equal to EV, where V is the velocity of electron. Or you can rewrite this you can rewrite this E is equal to 1 by 2m mv whole square, that is nothing but p square by 2m, or p is equal to root of 2me. E is nothing but electron volt if you want, if it is given, so you can write it as 2mev. If potential is given, simply you can calculate the momentum. Okay, so but de Broglie wavelength, we just now found out de Broglie wavelength lambda is equal to h by p. So therefore you can substitute for p from the de Broglie wavelength. So de Broglie wavelength you can substitute for p, so you will get de Broglie wavelength as me, or that can be in terms of electron volt 2mev. So now substituting h by root of mev, if you substitute 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 whole divided by root of 2 into m is the mass of electron, that is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, that is the value of E, into potential V, whatever potential applied. So on simplification you will get lambda is equal to 12.27 Anston divided by whatever potential applied. So this expression of de Broglie wavelength of accelerated electron simply says, or simply suggests that wavelength associated with the particle varies inversely as a mass of the particle. So that's what exactly we observed from this. So this is about dualism and wave particle duality. Heisenberg hypothesis explains that. So what exactly wavelength associated with electron accelerated, that's also we have discussed. Next, so when we started the quantum mechanics, we defined uncertainty in the measurement. So that's what exactly next we will going to see Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Heisenberg uncertainty principle. What exactly it states, or what exactly it says? Let us see that. Okay, statement says it is impossible to determine precisely and simultaneously the value of both conjugate variable like position and momentum or energy and time, or angular momentum and angular displacement of a particle, and product of uncertainty in their measurement is equal to or greater than h by 4 pi. Thus, if you are talking about position and momentum, then the uncertainty is given by delta x into delta px is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So where delta x denotes uncertainty in measurement of position, this uncertainty in the measurement of position. Delta px is the uncertainty in the measurement of momentum. Okay, so this is a first uncertainty expression. Similarly, you can write another uncertainty, that is delta, second one, it's delta E into delta T is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So of course it is simultaneous determination of energy and time of the particle. Delta E into delta T is also greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Delta is uncertainty in measurement of energy, and delta T is uncertainty in measurement of time. Similarly, you can make another uncertainty relation, that is delta EL into delta theta greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So here delta L is a uncertainty in measurement of angular momentum, and delta theta is uncertainty in measurement of angular displacement. So in simple, it is uncertainty in the measurement. Two physical parameter, related physical parameter, cannot be measured accurately and precisely. That's what exactly uncertainty principle says. So next, let us see physical significance of uncertainty principle. Physical significance of uncertainty principle. So the wave nature of moving particle leads to some inevitable consequences. Classically, the state of particle can be defined by measuring position and momentum accurately at any time. At any given time, you can measure it. But when it comes to subatomic particle, so that is associated with the de Broglie wave packet or particle wave, then it is impossible to measure position and momentum accurately at given time. So the physical significance of above principle is that microscopic phenomena, that is, one should not think of accurate measurement of position and accurate measurement of momentum of given particle at a given time. Instead, you have to think about probability of finding particles, position and momentum at given time. In subatomic level, exactness or accuracy in the measurement will be replaced by, so in the subatomic level, exact or accuracy is replaced by probability, or we say uncertainty due to wave nature associated with the moving particle. That is the physical significance of uncertainty principle. Next, let us see application of uncertainty principle. One application. The application of uncertainty principle, we are going to see non-existence of electron in the nucleus. Non-existence of electron in the nucleus. So, during radioactive decay, radiations are emitted like alpha particle, beta particle and gamma rays. So, alpha particles are identified as protons and beta particles are identified to be electrons. So, when your decay takes place, actually nucleus is also undergoing decay. Now question is, from where exactly electron is coming? Whether it comes from the nucleus. So in order to evaluate this, we apply uncertainty principle to find whether electrons are coming out of the nucleus. So according to uncertainty principle, the exactness in the measurement of position and momentum delta x into delta px is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Okay. So we know that diameter of the nucleus is of the order of 10 to the power minus 14 meter. So the order of m2. So 10 to the power 14 meter, minus 14 meter. If an electron is to exist inside the nucleus, suppose let us assume reverse. Electron is exist inside the nucleus. If electron is exist inside the nucleus, then maximum diameter of the nucleus is 10 to the power minus 14. So the maximum, so suppose if it is electron is exist inside the nucleus, then maximum uncertainty, that is delta x, must not exceed this nucleus size. Delta x must not exceed because it is outside the nucleus. If you say if it exceeds, so therefore delta x must be less than or equal to 10 to the power minus 14 meter. So then according to uncertainty principle, you can write, so rewrite this, delta px is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi delta x. Let us take the maximum, that is delta x is equal to 10 to the power minus 14 meter itself. So therefore delta px must be greater than or equal to, let us calculate this, 6.34 divided by 4 into 3.14 into 10 to the power minus 14, that is radius of the nucleus. If you compute this, you will get delta px is greater than or equal to 5.4278 into 10 to the power minus 21 kg meter per second. So this is nothing but uncertainty in the momentum of electron. This is a uncertainty in the measurement of electron. So momentum of the electron must be at least equal to the error of the momentum. At least equal to the error of the momentum. So therefore we say P is greater than or equal to 5.278 into 10 to the power minus 21 kg meter per second. So let us say at least it is equal to error of the electron. Now we know rest mass of the electron, okay, that is m is equal to 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. So electron exists within the nucleus. So if it is exists inside the nucleus, then its energy must be such that E should be greater than or equal to P square by 2m, or E should be greater than or equal to P. P is already we found out, that is 5.278 into 10 to the power minus 21 whole square divided by 2 into M. M is 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 31. If you calculate this, you will get that's equal to 1.53 into 10 to the power minus 11 joules. So let us convert this into electron volt. Divide this by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So many electron volts, that is 95.6 mega electron volts. So this is what exactly you got by calculation. So the kinetic energy of free electron confined within the nucleus should have minimum this much of energy. If it is confined inside a nucleus, this should be the minimum energy of the electron or beta particle. So experimental verification in the beta decay, we see that highest energy of beta particle emitted spontaneously by a nucleus is found to be 4 mega electron volt. So the 4 electron volt is much less than the calculated value of minimum kinetic energy which electron possesses comes to. So therefore we come to conclusion electron cannot exist. So the electron cannot be constituent of the atomic nucleus. Electron cannot be constituent of the atomic, or electron cannot exist inside the nucleus. So here I will end the first video of the quantum mechanics. So let us see in the next video we will discuss about wave function and other things. So thank you for watching.